Welcome into KSL Sports Rewind, our Girls Lacrosse Standout video. As always, presented here by Tab Bank and Tribal West Lacrosse. If you have any lacrosse needs, gear, maybe even want to go practice your shot with some of their gear, they've got a shooting cage, and of course, the great ball machine. If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out. Go visit them in Sandy or online at tribalwest.com. As always, Dane Stewart, please be joined by Tim Haslam from the Utah Lax Report. And Tim, we're going to focus this week on 6A girls lacrosse, some standouts that have had fantastic starts or weeks throughout the 6A classification. Tim, who do you have as three standouts here in the early part of the 26th season?
Yeah, I was looking at all the stats, trying to break down who kind of stood out, and there's a couple names that really stand out to me. One is the sophomore Summer Buchner from Skyridge, coming into this week. 49 points, 22 goals, 27 assists. They've played in those 7 games, and just a phenomenal player and just a sophomore, right? She took the state by storm last year as a freshman. It's really excited to see what she can do. She's obviously picked up where she left off from last year. So really excited to see what her and the rest of Skyridge can really do this year. The next would be Ava Hellig from Weber, coming in with 11 goals. But the stat that stood out to me, 71% draw controls. Wow. Very impressive, from that Weber team, who's kind of on the cusp of maybe that top 10 in the 6A rank. Really excited to see what Ava can do for the rest of the year as well. And then the last one is Kara Aramuspe out of Riverton. She's a freshman. That's what stood out to me, 16 goals, 8 assists. I love it anytime we see these youth players because obviously, they've been playing for years and you can tell that they've really just a student of the game when they're scoring goals as a freshman. So those would be my 3 for the week, Dane.
Tim, I love it. And, we were at a game this week and we were talking about on the girls' side and some of the experiences graduated from the state. And it's kind of like, man, we're kind of, there's an opportunity for some youngsters to come up. And I love you have a sophomore, you've got a freshman on your kind of standout list to start the year. I love it. And you talk about their starts to the year. We mentioned in our rankings video this last week, Skyridge took on Mountain Ridge. Skyridge got that victory, but you talk about Summer Buchner, the sophomore. She had 4 goals and 4 assists. She had 8 points in that game. And that's basically a championship game preview. I mean, that's 2 of the top teams in the state, if not the top 2 in 6A going toe-to-toe. She had 8 points in that one. Fantastic. And then you mentioned the freshman Aramuspe for PG. They had a game this week against Riverton, or excuse me, the freshman for Riverton. They played PG, my bad. She also had 4 goals and 4 assists in that game. So just phenomenal that those youngsters able to contribute, not only scoring goals, but also helping to create goals for their respective teams. Fantastic starts for them this year and backed up with some impressive performances this last week. Tim, you talked about some that have been off to great starts. I was looking at box scores this week, so I'm going to call out 3 that had impressive game, a impressive game or impressive games from this last week. Let's start first with the Farmington Phoenix. And how about Cassie Moffitt? She's a senior, but boy, she had herself a week. They took on Viewmont. This was a one-sided game. Farmington got the lopsided victory, but she had 8 goals in that one. Then Farmington also took on Ridgeline this week, also a one-sided game. And again, Cassie with 8 more goals. She has 16 goals this week, Tim. Just crazy. What a week for Cassie Moffitt, the senior out of Farmington. Congratulations to her on a standout week. Let me give you another one. If you watched our rankings video, we talked about Copper Hills in Region 2, off to a strong start. They had a nice win this last week over Lehigh, 11-9, but it was the performance of Elise Southworth, the senior. She had 7 goals to lead the way, 7 of their 11 goals coming from the junior as she helps lift Copper Hills past the Pioneers in that one, 11-9. Fantastic performance by her. And then we'll mention one more here, and not to pick on the Pioneers, but Harriman got a decisive victory over Lehigh, 23-11. Great balance by this Harriman offense. They had 4 different players who scored at least 4 goals in this one. And a lot of them were underclassmen. They had, or half of them were, my apologies. Campbell had 4 goals. Davis had 4 goals. And then Kugler and Sam, each pair of seniors there with 5 apiece. A lot of offense for Harriman. Not going to limit it to just one. But, man, there were some impressive performances here from this last week in 6A.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's exciting to see. It's a lot of goals, sort of in this non-conference or non-region play. You can get some of these mismatches, and that kind of leads to those goals. But exciting to see these players really succeed. I was going to mention I was sitting next to Moffitt, her dad, at my daughter's fifth, sixth grade game today, and he was saying the same thing. So just exciting to see, and again, we talked about youth. My daughters both play and go into their games. Just some really great players at the fifth, sixth grade level, at the seventh, eighth grade level. Really exciting to see it, and really excited about the future of the sport here in the state.
One other player I got to throw out there because we talked about Skyridge, that Mountain Ridge game. How about Taylor Brems, the senior goalie? She had 7 saves in that win for them over Mountain Ridge. And look, it may very well be the better defense when those two play going to give their team the upper edge. And, you have a save percentage around 500. It's going to go a long way. Congratulations, Taylor Brem. She had a big game in helping Skyridge get that early win over Mountain Ridge. There you have it. A lot of players who have had great starts to the year, players who have had a great week this last week. Who else should we be talking about? Who else has been standout in your mind? Hit us up in the comments. Let us know, and we'll make sure to cover them next time. For everyone here at KSL Sports Rewind, for Vince Francis, Tim Haslam, my name is Dane Stewart. Thanks for joining us on our 6A Girls Lacrosse Standout video presented by Tab Bank and Tribal West Lacrosse.